One. Well, howdy. Nice to meet you.
Hey,
So, we've got a really cool guest on our show, Pete Dankelson. I'm pronouncing it correctly, right?
yep.
All right. So, you, I believe, are our first guest from Chicago. Well, thanks for joining us from the Windy City.
Oh, cool. And again, thank you for having me.
Oh,
This is
it's our
really cool.
pleasure. So, the reason we got you on, both Scott Engel and I, Scott Guitarist Engel and I, both spotted you on YouTube. You're on our YouTube feed. I think you're on our Facebook feed. And you are, in the most important sense, a kick-ass guitar player, and that's the main reason you're
Thank you.
here. You're welcome. And you're a kid. What are you, 20 or 21 now?
20.
All right, yeah, you're not even able to do this yet. You can't do that.
Getting closer, but
You you
not
are.
quite yet.
You are. I'm sorry, I have a dog biting me right now. So,
Yeah.
and you have a really, really inspirational backstory, which we'll talk about in a bit. And we'll cover it a few times, but your website is petesdiary.com. No apostrophe, obviously. You can't have an apostrophe in a on a website.
Mhm.
But it's worth a look. But your story is amazing, and I'm going to let you tell it yourself. But tell us a little bit about your medical history.
Yeah. How
You can
much
do
time
that.
do
You
you
can do that
have?
in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, guess let's just start at the beginning. I was born with a rare craniofacial condition called golden heart syndrome. In short, all that it basically means is that I'm high maintenance and expensive. Um, but some of the stuff, kind of one of the main things being a musician is I'm missing my
Oh,
I'm
okay.
missing my left ear. It's kind of one of the big things. So I typically wear a hearing aid that helps me
Okay.
out. That helps me out with that. And I was also born with a small airway, so I had a hole in my neck for about 19 years. So quite a long
For
time.
ninth, for how long? 9 years?
About 19.
Wow, wow. Oh, so you just got that out.
Yeah, I just got it closed. Not It was September of 2019,
Yeah,
so
when you said
over
19,
a
I thought
year
you had it
ago.
wrong, but no, you didn't. Wow. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and then some of the other stuff I've had. Well, I've had a couple of jaw surgeries, some lots of stuff. I've had over 35 surgeries
That's
throughout my
amazing.
life. So yeah, quite a bit of stuff going on.
So, and what's really cool is that you could have taken a couple of courses in your life, but you chose gratitude and positivity.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of it kind of does stem from like the medical side of things. Like when I was in the hospital recently for the airway surgery a while back, um, I had to be in ICU for about a week
Okay.
on a ventilator and all that stuff, so doctors could see how I was doing with it closed up. Being on a floor like ICU, some intense stuff is going on, so you kind of see some things that happen, and it honestly kind of puts you in your place a little bit. So it's like the situation you're in is kind of tough, but you're kind of thankful at the same time. It's just it's an interesting perspective
I
for
guess it
sure.
is, and I guess at all levels, everything is relative, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, like I could look at you and say I haven't had 35 surgeries, and I am grateful for that. And then you're in ICU and you're seeing people where you say I'm really grateful that I don't have what they have going on, right?
Hmm.
And it's interesting, but I just love the fact that not only did you make it positive, but you did it through guitar. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're good enough where it's not like you sort of get by on guitar. I've watched your videos. You can shred that thing. Like you're really good.
Thank you. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's fun. It's definitely, it's like another journey. It's still trying to figure it out, and it's
Well,
just fun. I'm loving it.
you are our second 20-year-old on this show, so that makes you tied as our youngest guest ever. Uh,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. And actually, we got both you guys because you're Mariah Formica was our other guest. You might have even heard of her. She's all over the internet. She's a phenom, and you're a phenom too. But we found you on the internet. It's not like we did it through personal connections. Um, so I know that you are a huge Slash fan.
Yes. Yep.
So let's talk about when did you first get interested in rock, or was there a predecessor to rock? Like were you really little and into like other kinds of music, or how did that start?
Well, I mean, it's fun because I was looking back at it kind of recently. I was doing some other things too, and I kind of reflected on kind of, and it's fun because I have kind of noticed that there were these kind of seeds that were planted that I think kind of ultimately kind of bloomed into this.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Now
and
could it be? I met your mom briefly before we hit record. Is
mhm.
she a hard rock fan?
She kind of got into it a little bit because of me,
But you didn't
but
get into it because of her.
no, I kind of more or less discovered it on my own. But dad's a big fan of the stuff as well. But going back to what I was talking, earlier, some of the things that I can kind of think of, like the earliest kind of moments. I remember being in the car coming home with dad, pulling into the subdivision, and Eruption came on,
Oh,
the playlist, and dad's like, "Hey, check this out," and just kind of cranks up the volume.
oh my
I'm
God.
listening. I'm just like, didn't know anything about music, didn't know anything about guitar, didn't know who Van Halen, didn't know what Van Halen was.
Yeah.
But I heard that, and I just kind of like, wow, you
As
know.
you should have, right?
I mean, and
Yeah.
and kind of looking at what other people said about it too, I'm sure it was the same exact reaction as everyone else.
So I got to
Um,
ask you a question. I'm going to cut you off.
mhm,
So we've talked a lot about Eruption on Guitar Tales.
mhm.
So we take people's opinions as to whether or not it's appropriate to play live in a club or does it bore the hell out of people? What do you think?
I still get excited by it.
Yeah.
I
We've had
still
a
think
split of
it's
opinion. Yeah.
no. I mean, I don't get sick of it. Play it. What I like is you play it and you just hit it into you really got me.
Right, 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 right.
Because I mean, I can't think of that not happening. I always think of that, listening to the album.
That's true.
You got Eruption, that it goes right into the song.
So how amazing is it that here you are in your dad's car?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you were in your dad's car, roughly, when you were listening to
Oh
that?
boy, that's a good question. I don't know.
But young, right?
Young, yeah.
So then the next thing you know, you can play that, and that's no small feat. You could play that song. Like, how cool is that?
Well, still haven't quite figured it out yet, but I love it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
You,
definitely one of those classics.
it really is. It really is. So so you got into that, and then when did you start playing guitar? At what age?
So I started playing at 15 years old.
So that's only 5 years you've been playing.
Yeah, pretty much about 5 years. Yeah, it was the end of my freshman year of high school. So,
You are far along. Again, I encourage anyone, go to the website, petesdiary.com, but also do what I did, right? Go on YouTube, Pete Dankelson, Dankelson, right? I got it.
mhm. Yep.
And just go on YouTube. You've got like a billion videos there. You've done
Mhm.
interviews. I've seen you shred. I've seen you play regular songs. Like it's worth a visit. It's great stuff. And
Thanks. Yeah.
sure. So you start playing. Did you take lessons? Are you self-taught?
So when I first picked up the guitar, that was kind of interesting too, because kind of at the time, like where I kind of was at in my life, kind of that year, I moved from where we used to live in Michigan to the Chicago area,
Okay.
where I'm at now. So that was kind of an interesting turn in my life. I just started high school, totally new state, new city. Um, so I was really kind of leaning heavily into music, and I kind of started to listen to a little bit more, kind of started to get into a bit more like rock and roll stuff, like AC/DC, kind of the classic blues based rock stuff. And then it just one day it kind of boiled over, and I got curious, and I said to my dad, "Hey, I think it'd be really fun to learn how to play guitar. Like, just give it a try, and see what happens." And lucky for me, he had this little, distortion pedal.
Oh wow.
Actually, that PV amp over there
Is
that's
that an
used
old
in,
PV?
yeah, I never did look up what year, um, or like what model it is. I don't know. I don't really know too much about
I
the
think I
PVs.
know that amp. That's why I'm looking at it and
Uh-huh.
I'll mention my buddy's name, Steve Petersack, one of my high school friends, who's a wonderful guitar player. That looks really a lot like what he had, and it's kind of like a Fender Twin, but it's just made by Peavey, right?
I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the Peavey Classic, maybe. Is that what they call it?
maybe. I'm not sure.
That's all right. That's all right. But I know that that's a great amp.
Mhm.
Um, so you're into guitar, and then in terms of your medical issues, would they impact upon your ability to play, or were you okay? Like, would they
Um,
affect you?
one of the big things, of course, is the hearing. Being born
Yeah.
without my left ear. Um, it's interesting because I've always been missing my left ear, if that makes sense. So I've
Yeah.
always kind of had this hearing loss, basically. So to me, it's always been normal, if that makes
Right.
sense. You don't know what you're not missing, even though I am helped with the hearing aid. It
Right.
does help a lot, but I'm still used to it. So I never really considered it that much of a problem or anything,
Oh, that's great.
except in headphones. Because like listening to, I'm gonna I reference them all the time, but listening to a band like AC/DC, where if you listen to it in stereo, you got Angus's lead stuff on the right
All
side,
right.
and typically Malcolm's rhythm playing on the left side.
So
Um,
you're gonna have a problem with that, or you're not gonna get that. Right.
right, right.
Right.
And
You,
the other thing too,
yeah.
one more thing when I play, I was born with a I forget the medical term for it, but my left thumb, let me see if you can kind of focus. It doesn't exactly bend.
Is
Let
it
me see
called a
if I'm
swan
keep.
neck deformity? Is that what they call it?
No,
Or
no, I think
Dupuytren?
it's like hydroplastics, hyperplastic. I forget the exact medical
Okay.
term. But my left thumb doesn't bend. So like, when
Wow.
I hold the guitar neck, like Hendrix, what did he do
You can't
sometimes? He'd
wrap your
wrap
thumb
his
around
hands.
necessarily. Right. Okay.
Right, like he'd wrap his thumb around the neck and hold down that low E string
Right.
and flourishes. And Billy Gibbons, I think of too, like in a Sharp Dressed Band, he'd hold down that
Oh, right.
note and do that. And Eddie did that a lot too.
Right. Yeah. By
Like I
wrapping
think
the.
what is it? Dead or Alive. It's kind of bouncing off that one note, and I forget exactly which tune it was, but I think it was that one.
Right. But that's going to create some challenges for you.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, but I could find ways around it.
Right. I guess is. I mean, with your attitude, there's always going to be a workaround, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a shot. Or like chord wise, there's like a D with an F sharp on the bass. You play like a regular D chord and then hold down that F sharp note on the what is it, like second fret on the little E. I kind of found out that there was like a little different trick you could do without having to use your thumb. So just kind of little tricks like that
Right.
I try
Right.
and use.
Now, and I think I saw online. So you play live too. You've had some gigs in your day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, used to.
Okay. All right. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
What do we have? Something called COVID running around or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So pre-COVID, you were starting to gig.
Yeah, well, I was in a School of Rock for
I saw
do
that
you know what
one.
School of Rock was? School of Rock is? Yeah,
Mhm.
so there's like local franchises all throughout the country, right? So luckily for me, about a year after I was playing, for like the first year I was playing, I was pretty much self-taught,
Right.
on my own, just kind of going on YouTube and kind of really discovering, all these bands and these tunes and seeing what would stick and what wouldn't. Just kind of really soaking it all in and just trying to learn some stuff. I pretty much did that for like the first year of playing. And then when the School of Rock opened, it's like 5 minutes from my house. So it's
Oh, that's
like,
great.
it's like, okay, this is great. Go check this out, the open house or whatever. And I loved it, did a camp there. And it's my first time, you know, playing with people in a band. Did like Back in Black. It was like a British invasion kind of thing.
Right. Right. Right.
So we were doing some Queen and Judas Priest and stuff like that. And then was it there's like like I guess you call it like the elite band there, like the
Right.
gigging band,
Yeah.
called the house band. And I managed to, audition into that and make that and do all these local gigs. And it was a blast. And then I got to go on tour, was it summer of 2019? with the School of Rock All Stars.
Oh wow.
And that was great because it was like this huge audition with you know all the School of Rocks from all over the U.S. They would hold this audition, um, and basically there'd be like multiple teams made up of people from all over.
Oh
You'd
wow.
all fly into like one specific spot, rehearse for a few days, and then you'd actually hit the road and basically do a week-long tour. So I
That
was
is
lucky
super
enough.
cool.
So I was lucky enough to make it, and it was like my first time, like actually, like I guess touring. It's like we went from Chicago to Detroit, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Cleveland, and then 2 nights back in Chicago for the two last shows. And I mean, it was like night after night. So like night one Detroit, night two Pittsburgh. So it was like go go go.
You've really lived that rock and roll life, which is pretty cool.
I mean, I guess I had a taste of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean that's
Yeah.
fair. Right, right. And I think if I saw it right online, I saw your audition tape. Is that posted?
Oh,
I
I
think I
haven't
saw
checked.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is out there.
And I saw at least one of your performances. You had a woman singer who was just belting out. I forgot what it was. She was great. And there was a lead. I was nervous for you, and you nailed it. I forgot what song it was. It's a song we all know. I can't. It might have been Zap. It might have been someone else.
Oh, the ocean.
No, I didn't. I would love to hear you do the ocean.
Yeah, we did that one live in house band. You know, we did that one live all the time. That was a big favorite. Cult of Personality. That was my big favorite too.
That's got a great lead. And I
Yeah,
saw you
yeah.
do. I saw you do Freebird.
Oh yeah, I don't really do the thing note for note,
You
kind
don't
of
think you
because
were good. You did a nice
I'm like,
job with it.
yeah, I kind of have fun just kind of improvising over it, but still kind of keeping the main parts there. Some of the
No,
iconic
it
bits.
sounded familiar to me as someone who grew up listening to them. It sounded great.
Good. Thanks.
So let's talk about this. So you've become a really proficient guitar player. There's the dog. He wants to go out. He's
Yeah.
not going to go out. He is not going to go out. So you've become a really proficient guitar player, and you created this website, Pete'sDiary.com. So what do you do with your? I believe it's a foundation, right? Or at least it's an organ.
Yeah.
So what is your goal, and what are you accomplishing through sort of the mixture of you discovering music and dealing with your personal challenges and making other people really feel good about their ability to overcome obstacles?
Yeah. So like the whole thing with Pete's Diary, it's really interesting because it actually started right after I was born.
Okay.
So I was born in the year 2000, and basically, at this time, Facebook was barely even up and running, right?
Right, right, right.
And mom wanted to keep everybody updated on how I was doing because I was in the NICU for pretty much like the first 3 months of my life.
Right, right.
So no social media to post updates on. Mom would kind of send out these basically diary entries. Like she kind of wrote what was going on with me
Okay.
on that specific day, and kind of send it out to the family members. So that's kind of how that whole thing started. And then let's see, Pete's Diary, and then after I kind of came home and all that, kind of stopped for a while. But then things kind of started to get really interesting when let's see, basically do you know the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio, or I've heard of it?
I think
There's
I've
a
heard of it.
movie out
Yeah.
about it too.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, when that book came out quite a while ago, um, it was big for the craniofacial community and somebody like me.
Okay.
And long story short, I got to go and kind of perform the role of the main character in kind of like a read along kind of theater type of thing.
Okay.
And when I was out there, one of the things that we did is we spoke to a school, and kind of compared my life to the main character and kind of that sort of thing. And then we got back home to where I lived at the time in Michigan. Word of mouth kind of got around to all the local school districts that we'd spoken to the school out in California. And then we kind of started to do more of these presentations. And then eventually it kind of blossomed
Oh
into
wow.
this whole big thing. And then, the role kind of started to change a little bit when I picked up the guitar and was doing music and all this type of thing. So now it kind of evolved from, talking about the book Wonder and all that and comparing my life into, we talked to middle schools and basically try to empower them, and basically empower themselves to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. And we do tie the music into it. We have something called like Rock Your Life, that kind of thing, amplify kindness, all that type
I
of stuff.
wrote down, you wrote on your site, it says amplify positive vibes. I love
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah. If someone wants to get you to speak, can they just go to your website and contact you or mom?
Yep.
That's great. And I love like everything I've seen. We spoke maybe 5 or 10 minutes before we went on the air.
Hmm.
You're just like a positive guy. It's wonderful. You know.
Yeah, you got to try and keep a good mindset. It can be hard at times, but you got to try and do the best you can to look at the bright side.
Yeah, and it's clear you do. And I have to do this now. I'm looking at your room and I'm salivating over
Uh-huh.
what is behind you right now.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
Can you introduce us to some of your guitar friends? You don't even have to get up to do it, but let's.
Okay.
You got a three pickup Fender-ish. I can't see if it's a Fender back
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah. So I guess let's just kind of start from over
Yeah,
here.
why not?
Yeah, it's a little tricky to see, but that's a Stevie Ray Vaughan
Oh, nice. Okay.
signature strat. It's got the SRV on the pickguard and all that.
Yep, yep.
And Stevie's a huge influence to
I
me,
think
so
he's my
that's
favorite
really
guitar
cool.
player. Him and Steve Howe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've always really
yeah.
really liked his playing a lot.
And then you've got a Les Paul, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a gold top. It's a what is it? It's a 2018 tribute, 2019.
Right. Wasn't it a
Might be
tribute
a
to the
2019 tribute.
54? I thought I saw.
I think it would be a 50 because it came stock with the with
Double humbuckers.
humbucking pickups
All
in
right,
it.
which they
Yeah,
were doing back in the 50s, right?
right. So I,
Okay.
I would think 54 that still would have been P90s.
It definitely would have been P90s.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I'm not sure what it would have.
Here's my bootlegger. I've got a P90 on that.
Nice. I
Yeah, look at
have.
it. Look at that
It's out of
headstock. Look at that headstock. Isn't
nice.
that pretty? Um,
Hmm.
and then you've got your Angus styled SG back there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely where the influence is
That's your main
for the SG.
Isn't that your favorite guitar? At least I've seen the most of that in what I've seen of you on.
Yeah, the SG kind of body style in general, I think that's the most comfortable for me to play.
And it's at
Because
an. Oh, you go.
okay, well, it's a 2017 faded, so this is kind of like my first baby, I guess
Right.
you could say. Because ACDC's always been kind of like the biggest inspiration for me. So when I was playing, I'm like, man, an SG like Angus, that would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got that for Christmas
And
that
is that
year.
an ES next to it?
Yeah, this is kind of the newest edition.
Wow,
It's
that's a
three
fancy
nine.
guitar.
I love it. It's a great sounding guitar.
So that's not an Epiphone ES, that's a Gibson ES.
Oh, it's yeah, yeah.
Nice. So one of our other Guitar Tales guests, Noah Pelty,
Mhm.
he just moved to Nashville. He works for Gibson now.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's always posting about all the beautiful guitars he gets to play around with.
Hmm.
That's great. So and then you've got your PV. So you don't know how old it is, but that's a beautiful amp. And if it's anything like the PV I know, it's great. You
Hmm.
got a Marshall.
And loud.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah. So is that a 212 or a 112?
212.
Nice, nice. And then
It's
you got
the
more. You got more guitars. You got a couple.
yeah. There's a couple more hiding in the corner.
So you got two
That's
acoustics. What are they?
so it's either one, I guess, right next to the ES. That is a Gibson G45. We went out to Nashville. We um we have quite a good relationship with Gibson and know quite a few
Right.
of the
You're a
people.
bit. You're almost like an endorser, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or you are are you an endorser for Gibson, or
I
sort
mean,
of, kind of?
I don't know if it's been like officially said, but fantastic relationship with them.
That's great.
So I guess.
Right, right, right.
Um, but yeah, I have the G45. That was kind of like one of the, I think it was one of the prototypes too that they gave me. So that was really nice of them. And then the one right next to it, you might have seen out there on YouTube as well. One of the other guitars I used, it was like a almost a sunburst looking Les
Yep,
Paul.
yep, yep, yep.
That's that one right there. And then actually, this is kind of an interesting one. No one's really ever seen this. But right next to that, it's a Fender. I think it's a precision bass.
Oh, nice. That's got so the P bass is the shorter neck than the jazz,
Hmm.
right? But that's an iconic bass right there. That's cool.
And that was Dad's when he was in high school.
Oh,
So
very
he's, yeah.
cool.
So he still had, some of the stuff lugging around too. And then it's not in the room, it's storage, but it's a 78 Fender Music Master. So like a one pickup, one neck pickup type of thing,
Oh,
all black,
wow, that's
and
great.
Scott looking guitar. That was the first guitar that I started practicing on. That's the one that
That's very
Dad had in
cool.
high school. So yeah. And so obviously he played too, and that's kind of how the whole
Oh,
thing
that's
started
really
up.
great. That's really great. So you got, and what's the one hanging on the wall there? I can't tell if that's a poster or a guitar, the one on top. It's with the
Um,
British invasion flag all the way up higher.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So right there, up there, that's not really one that I play, but somebody actually sent it in. Unfortunately, it looks like a traditional Gibson SG, but it's a bolt-on neck, so you kind of, dead giveaway. But the cool thing is the signatures. It's signed by all members of ACDC.
Oh my
So
God. That's
yeah,
worth it. That's worth
yeah, I was very happy about that. And that's the yeah, I think it's the Australian flag. So that
very
was
nice.
really,
And I thought it was a
really,
British
really
flag. What
jacked
do I
stuff.
know?
Yeah, it's hard to see. They look pretty close.
So that's really good stuff. So let me get you one last line of questions here. So how has your life changed with COVID as a musician?
Yeah, so kind of when everything first hit, I mean, I didn't really have a band going on, but I'd
Right.
still kind of try and get out and do local like stuff. Um, because I aged out of school rock, so it was kind of like a strange transition time for me anyway.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, all this stuff hit. So, the first few months, it was like, well, okay, I have all this strange free time. And I just kind of started learning all these different tunes and trying to learn all these different tricks and stuff. But now I'm at the point now where I'm like, all right, I've learned all this stuff, but I want to put it to the test. And
Yeah.
I've been working with a drummer friend of mine who's been working on, some song ideas and stuff. So that's kind of been
Well,
keeping
that's
me busy.
exciting. So
Mhm.
is your so first of all, I think I'm hearing from you what I've heard from every guest since we've started doing our Zoom shows, which is that everyone has done their best to turn COVID into an opportunity to improve their craft.
Yeah, because I mean, for touring musicians, for sure,
Yeah.
you're always on the move, that kind of thing. You kind of fall out of practicing for a while. I'm sure for like pretty much everyone, when all this stuff hit, and all this free time kind of showed up, it's like, well, I've always wanted to try this, so let's kind
Right.
of dive into it a little bit. And now we're kind of at the point now where, all these new albums are starting to come out and stuff, and new music is coming out. Like, at the time this is going on, Cheap Trick just announced that they're going to be coming out with a new album that I'm
Are they
really,
really?
really looking forward to. Yeah,
I'm a big Cheap Trick fan.
yeah, I love that first album and Budokan. And they're from Illinois, Chicago's finest.
Yeah. Are they from Chicago?
Yeah, yeah, I think Rockford, which isn't too far from here.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I love Cheap Trick. And then so for you, that's a great sort of segue you gave us a couple of seconds ago. So what you want to start working on is some original music, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have one song out now, and that's it's called "Can't Stop Staring." But it's interesting because I think a lot of people kind of know me for the, electric guitar, rock and roll kind of thing. But this tune, "Can't Stop Staring," it's a acoustic bluesy tune with the slide, so kind of a totally different thing that I think what people would expect if they know what I do.
Right,
Um,
right.
but it was fun because it kind of popped up for like a songwriting class type of thing. So it's like totally okay. Let's jump on something totally different. Always loved blues, but never really kind of dove into some of the kind of Delta theme stuff and
Right, almost like
or
dobro
like
style
lyric
stuff, right?
writing. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I didn't have a dobro, so I used the. I don't think I talked about this, but the acoustic right next to the bass, it's a Taylor acoustic.
Oh, that's a nice company. That's great. Yeah, that's up there with Martin and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I really like it. It's a good
So
sounding guitar.
so someday you're going to come up with this new stuff. And in terms of where people can find everything Pete, should they just go to petesdiary.com? Is that like a good launching pad for it, or are there other places they should go?
Yeah, yeah. Instagram is a big one.
Okay, so you've got an Insta.
That people
See,
are on
I'm such an old fart. Like I'm thinking about websites.
there.
So right, so it's I'm going to spell your name. I take very few notes, but Dankelson. So Pete Dankelson. Just pull up your name on Facebook for the old farts like me, Instagram, and there's probably platforms I don't even know about, but Instagram is a
Well,
good.
and yeah, and Pete's Diary is out there too. You could just kind of search that up.
Oh, okay. So not just the website, but even on social media, it's going to be out there. Gotcha.
Yep,
All
yep.
right. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. We are thrilled that you came on the show with us, and we're appreciative that you did the show with us.
Yeah, this is really cool. Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. You have a great night. All right. Take care. All right. Bye
You
bye.
too.
Bye, everyone on Guitar Tales.
Bye.